If you have been unfortunate enough to get involved with a narcissist and you know that you don't want to go there again, it's normal to want to know early when someone might be toxic. If you're still unsure if your intuition is strong enough to sense a toxic person quickly, here are some more signs that might help you see the red flags earlier. This is a follow-up to a previous video on the same subject, and I'll leave the link to that in the upper right-hand corner now. As always, it can be very difficult to sense when meeting someone for the first time whether they are toxic or not. But usually, especially with the more grandiose narcissists, they will tip their hand early, and it helps to know what to look for. One of the early clues is they tell too much about their accomplishments, especially about money or status. For example, they might immediately bring up how much money they make or how much they paid for their car or house. They say this very early on in the conversation, maybe just a minute or so into it. Most people would wait a bit to mention these things, if ever. Narcissists want you to know these things either to impress you or maybe establish dominance. Some people that are very nervous and socially awkward might blurt out too much information too soon, but it's usually easier to tell. A narcissist seems to be saying those things to make an impression, and they will tend to reveal their salary or position with an air of arrogance. They watch to see your reaction to their accomplishments because they need you to be impressed so that they can get their narcissistic supply. If you are not impressed or a little confused or disgusted, watch to see how much longer they'll keep talking to you. Now, with a social narcissist who isn't able to talk about their accomplishments with money or education, they might mention how many friends they have, parties they go to, or that everyone likes them. If you notice something like this, it might seem out of place and too early in the acquaintance, and it might seem like they're trying to convince you that they're a popular, cool person. And that's exactly what they want. Number 2, they give you way too many compliments or one really over-the-top compliment. It's normal to be interested in a new person, but if they start telling you things like, "You're the most beautiful person I've ever seen," or "You're so wonderful, you're the coolest person I've ever met," 5 minutes after meeting you, it's not a great sign. They seem to think you're too amazing much too fast. There are 2 reasons why narcissists might do this. A narcissistic person will use this as a test to see if someone gets drawn in. Let's face it, they are not looking for anyone that is sharp enough to see their false image. They are looking for people who can be fooled by it. If you notice that you respond positively, the person draws back a little and smiles. They are celebrating that they hooked you. You may have felt in the moment that their reaction was the opposite of what you expected. There is another reason toxic people may do this. Narcissists can be sincere in giving over-the-top compliments like this because they're looking for that one person who can fill their void and make them happy. If they think they have found that person, maybe you, they will immediately put that person on a pedestal. They might really believe what they say. So in some cases, they are convincing. But if you know you're getting these superlative compliments from someone who can't possibly know who you are yet, it's usually a red flag. Number 3, they ask for something huge, like help with a personal issue, or offer something way too big, like to go on vacation together. They just met you. But narcissists can be very childlike and they don't have the self-awareness that would help them see that asking a total stranger for something big is inappropriate. The more covert narcissists might say something indirect, like, I'm in a bad spot because I don't have any childcare right now, or I would love to go to whatever place, but I don't have anyone to go with. They think it's okay to throw out requests because they believe it doesn't hurt to ask, no matter what or who it is. But if you feel that you should do something purely because you're feeling guilt or obligation and not because you really want to, it might be a sign that something isn't quite right. Number 4, they step in front of your path to block your way so that they can talk to you or confront you. They physically step out and block your way. Have you seen this? I realize that I've only seen this done by toxic people, but maybe that's just me. This is what I've observed. Usually when you're at a social function of some kind, someone who is toxic will see you walking somewhere, not to go talk to them, and they will physically step in front of you and block your way. It's an expression of power and entitlement. They can see you are on your way to do something else, but they're determined to get you to see them and to say what they want. This shows the person is oblivious to what you want and only cares about what they want, which is one of the signs of narcissism. In some cases, you might be trying to avoid the person, but they step in front of you because they're refusing to be avoided. This can also happen when a narcissistic person sees you and is determined to meet you, even if you're not in their group or with someone else. In many cases, people who aren't toxic will use a somewhat different approach. They will step in your direction, but won't entirely block your way. They kind of get close, but don't plant themselves in front of you so you can't get around them. There's a different vibe, and you can sense they respect your space and that you are trying to go somewhere else. People who aren't toxic will either wait their turn to speak with you or figure out that maybe you can't or don't want to engage with them right now. These signs don't necessarily mean a person is toxic, but they might help you to recognize signs that you may have seen in the past, which might in turn help you see early warning signs in the future. If you didn't recognize a narcissist the first time you met them, even if you've been through it before, please don't blame yourself. It's not easy. Narcissists don't want you to figure them out. It takes a long time to wake up from being under the control of a narcissistic person. And it takes a while to start recognizing the signs in people you don't know, because they will be slightly different than the ones that had the major impact on your life. If you are stuck in a situation right now where you can't really leave, you can still use it as an opportunity to observe and learn. Honestly, I started to notice things while I was still living with a narcissist, and during that period I started to see things I had never noticed before. Especially pay attention to the reactions of other people to the person you believe is narcissistic. As you start to get clearer on the behavior you're seeing, you'll be surprised that you never noticed the reactions of other people to the narcissist before. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please feel free to check out my website in the video description below. I've been so fortunate to be able to break free and heal from narcissistic abuse, and I love to share what I learned with others that need help. You deserve to heal from narcissistic abuse.